Why did my joke at work get me fired? The joke seemed completely harmless when I made it. I work as a software developer at a mid-sized tech company called Dataflow Solutions, and during our usual Friday afternoon team meeting, my manager Greg was complaining about some back-end server issues we'd been having. He mentioned the servers kept crashing at exactly 3:47 a.m. every Tuesday, which seemed oddly specific. Without thinking, I joked that maybe someone was running Bitcoin mining operations on company time and covering their tracks by scheduling crashes to hide the evidence. Everyone laughed, including Greg. It was just a random tech joke, the kind of thing developers say all the time. But as soon as the words left my mouth, I noticed something weird. Our IT director Kevin, who rarely came to our meetings, had been standing in the doorway listening. His face went completely white, and he quickly walked away without saying anything. I thought it was strange, but figured he just had somewhere else to be. That was Friday afternoon. Monday morning, everything felt different. Kevin avoided eye contact when I passed him in the hallway. My desk access card stopped working for the secure server room, which was weird because I'd had access for 2 years. When I asked Greg about it, he said there had been some policy changes and he'd look into it. Tuesday morning, I noticed Kevin having hushed conversations with our CEO Marcus near the elevator bank. They both glanced in my direction several times, then quickly looked away when they saw me watching. During lunch, my coworker Amy mentioned that IT had been asking questions about me. Specifically, they wanted to know my work schedule, whether I stayed late, whether I had access to administrative systems. Amy thought it was odd because those were things IT already knew. Wednesday, my computer login started getting randomly locked out. Each time I called the help desk, they said it was a system glitch and reset my password, but it kept happening, always right after I tried to access certain network folders. I started keeping track of which folders triggered the lockouts. The pattern was specific. Anytime I tried to access server maintenance logs or the automated task scheduler, my account would immediately lock. These were systems I'd accessed hundreds of times before without issues. I also noticed new software had been installed on my computer overnight, programs I didn't recognize with names like System Watch and Activity Tracker. When I tried to uninstall them, I got permission denied errors. Thursday morning, I found my desk had been searched. Nothing obvious, but my notebooks were in slightly different positions, and my desk drawers weren't quite how I'd left them. My backup external hard drive was missing from the locked drawer. I also noticed my computer had been remotely accessed overnight. Someone had been going through my files systematically, checking my browser history, saved documents, even personal email drafts. During lunch, I decided to test something. I deliberately searched for Bitcoin mining tutorials on my work computer just to see what would happen. Within 10 minutes, Kevin appeared at my cubicle asking if I needed help with anything. He'd never checked on me like that before in 2 years. Friday afternoon, exactly 1 week after my joke, Greg called me into his office with someone from HR I'd never seen before. The woman introduced herself as Sarah from corporate headquarters, which was strange because our company was too small to have a separate corporate office. They said they were letting me go due to budget cuts, effective immediately. But our department had just hired 3 new people last month, and I'd received a good performance review 2 weeks earlier with a merit raise. The severance package was suspiciously generous. 6 months pay plus benefits, way more than policy required. Sarah also made me sign a non-disclosure agreement about company operations, which I'd never heard of anyone else having to sign when they left. As security escorted me out, I saw Kevin watching from his office window with this relieved expression on his face. That's when I realized my stupid joke about Bitcoin mining wasn't actually a joke at all. The security guard won't even look at me as he walks me to my car. His eyes are fixed straight ahead, like he's escorting a criminal instead of someone who's worked here for 2 years. When we reach my Honda, he stands there awkwardly until I get inside, then watches as I pull out of the parking space. In my rearview mirror, I see Kevin still watching from his office window. The look on his face isn't just relief. There's something else there. Fear? Satisfaction? I can't tell, but it makes my stomach twist into knots. The drive home is a blur. My hands are shaking on the steering wheel, and I keep replaying the last week in my mind. The server crashes, the joke, Kevin's face going white, the systematic lockouts, the desk search, and now this absurdly generous severance package with an NDA that feels more like a gag order. As soon as I get home, I call my best friend, Tara. "They fired you?" she asks, incredulous. "But you just got that raise." "I know," I say, pacing around my living room. "And get this, they said it was budget cuts, but we just hired 3 new developers last month." "That makes no sense," Tara says. "What happened exactly?" I tell her everything, from the joke about Bitcoin mining to the strange behavior from Kevin and the CEO to the security escort out of the building. "Wait, so you think they're actually mining Bitcoin on company servers?" Tara sounds skeptical. "I don't know, I admit, I just made a stupid joke, but their reaction was so extreme." "Have you ever even looked into Bitcoin mining before?" she asks. "No, it was just something I'd heard about. I don't actually know how it works." After we hang up, I open my laptop and start researching. 2 hours later, I'm deep into articles about cryptocurrency mining operations. I learned that Bitcoin mining requires enormous computing power and consumes massive amounts of electricity. The more I read, the more plausible my accidental accusation becomes. Dataflow's server infrastructure could easily hide a mining operation. We had multiple server rooms with redundant power supplies, industrial cooling systems, and enough computing power to handle complex operations. The regular 3:47 a.m. Tuesday crashes suddenly make sense. They could be rebooting systems after mining sessions or clearing logs. I check my electric bill for my apartment, about $80 per month. Then I think about Dataflow's massive server rooms. Their monthly electric bill must be astronomical, especially if they're running mining operations. My phone buzzes with a text from Amy. "Are you okay? That was messed up today." I text back, "I'm fine, just confused. Do you know what really happened? 3 dots appear, disappear, then appear again. Finally, can't talk now. Be careful." That night, I drive to the grocery store to stock up on comfort food. As I'm loading bags into my trunk, I notice a black sedan idling 2 rows back. I wouldn't think anything of it, except I saw the same car 3 turns from my apartment. When I close my trunk and look again, the car starts moving, circling around to the exit. Back home, I'm putting away groceries when I glance out my kitchen window. There's a black SUV parked across the street that that I've never seen before. No one gets in or out for 20 minutes. I grab my phone and walk outside, pretending to check my mail while snapping a photo of the vehicle. Before I can get the license plate, the SUV's engine starts and it pulls away, turning at the end of the block. My internet is acting strange too. Pages that normally load instantly are taking forever, and twice my connection drops entirely. I try running a speed test, but it keeps timing out. Out of paranoia or intuition, I'm not sure which anymore. I boot up my computer in safe mode and run a security scan. The results make my blood run cold. Multiple unauthorized remote access attempts over the past 6 hours. Someone's trying to get into my computer. I stay up late installing security software and changing all my passwords. Around 2 a.m., I finally crawl into bed, exhausted but too wired to sleep. Just as I'm drifting off, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. It's Amy, using a phone I don't recognize. Don't investigate this. Not safe. They're watching you. I'll contact when I can. I stare at the message for a long time, my tired brain trying to process what's happening. This isn't just about losing my job anymore. Whatever I stumbled onto with my joke, it's bigger and more dangerous than I imagined. The Bitcoin mining operation at Dataflow Solutions isn't just some side hustle by a rogue IT director. The CEO is involved. They're monitoring me. They broke into my computer. They're following me, and they're afraid of what I might discover. I turn off all the lights and peer through my blinds at the empty street below. Is someone out there watching my apartment right now? I think about the NDA I signed, the generous severance package. They're buying my silence, but what exactly am I being silenced about? How big is this operation? And more importantly, what would they do if they knew I was starting to figure it out? I close the blinds, double-check that my door is locked, and crawl back into bed with my phone clutched in my hand. Sleep seems impossible now. Every noise makes me jump. Every shadow looks threatening. Whatever is happening at Dataflow Solutions, one thing is becoming clear. My random joke hit way too close to home, and now I'm paying the price for it. I spend the next morning setting up a secure Proton Mail account on a library computer. I can't trust my own devices anymore, not after those remote access attempts. The paranoia feels ridiculous. I'm just some mid-level developer who made a stupid joke. But Amy's warning keeps replaying in my mind. Not safe. They're watching you. I send a brief message to Amy's work email from my new anonymous account. Need to talk. Securely. Important. 3 hours later, I get a response to my Proton Mail. Use Signal app. My number is different now. She includes a phone number I don't recognize. After downloading Signal on a burner phone I picked up at a convenience store, another ridiculous precaution that somehow doesn't feel ridiculous anymore, I message Amy. What's really going on at Dataflow? I type. The reply comes quickly. Kevin's been acting strange for months. Tuesday maintenance windows at exactly 3:47 a.m. Server room off limits to everyone except him and 2 IT guys he hired last year. What happens during those windows? Don't know exactly, but I overheard Kevin telling Marcus that the yields were improving after they installed new cooling systems. My heart pounds. Yields? Like mining yields. Have you noticed anything else unusual? I ask. Kevin freaks out if anyone goes near certain server racks, and the electric bill is insane. I process accounts payable. Our utilities increased 40% last year with no explanation. Marcus approved it without questions. I sit back, stunned. A 40% increase in electricity would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars for a company Dataflow's size. Whatever they're doing, it's massive. Why are you telling me this? I ask. Because 3 other people noticed and they're all gone now. Budget cuts, restructuring, performance issues, all bullshit reasons. I'm about to respond when my phone pings with a new email notification. It's from an address I don't recognize, just a string of numbers and letters. The subject line reads, "What you're looking for." The email contains no message, just an attachment labeled server, logs, zip. I hesitate before downloading it to my burner phone. Inside are dozens of CSV files with timestamps, resource allocation data, and system logs. Most of it is technical gibberish to me, but certain patterns jump out immediately. Every Tuesday from 1 a.m. to 3:47 a.m., specific servers spike to 100% utilization. The temperature logs show dangerous heat levels that suddenly normalize at exactly 3:47 a.m. And buried in the network traffic logs are connections to cryptocurrency pools, the same pools used by Bitcoin miners. My hands are shaking as I scroll through the data. This is it? Actual proof. I message Amy. Who else knows about this? No one talks about it. Too scared. I shouldn't even be telling you this. Thanks for trusting me. I type. Be careful. Kevin has resources. Corporate security, not just company stuff. I spend the next few hours researching Kevin online. His LinkedIn profile lists his experience at Dataflow and previous companies, but something catches my eye, a brief mention of a blockchain innovation startup from 2015 to 2017 that I've never heard him discuss. The company name is CryptoVault Technologies, but searching for it yields almost nothing. After digging through business registration databases, I find CryptoVault was registered in the Cayman Islands. The listed owners are obscured behind shell companies, but one document mentions a K. Thornton and M. Devereaux as principals. Kevin Thornton. Marcus Devereaux. My blood runs cold. This isn't just some side hustle Kevin cooked up. This is an operation the CEO is directly involved in. I decide to head home and pack an overnight bag. Maybe staying with Tara for a few days would be smarter than remaining alone in my apartment. As I pull into my parking spot, I immediately notice something wrong. My front door is slightly ajar. I freeze. Car still running. Should I call the police? What would I even tell them? That I suspect my former employers broke into my apartment because I joked about Bitcoin mining? I back out slowly and park down the street, then approach my building from the side entrance. When I reach my apartment, I push the door open carefully. Nothing seems disturbed at first glance. The TV is still there. My laptop sits untouched on the coffee table, but when I check my bedroom, I notice my external hard drive, the backup I keep in my nightstand, is sitting on top of the dresser instead of in the drawer where I always keep it. I pick it up, examining it closely. It looks identical to mine, but something feels off. I connect it to my laptop and check the properties. The serial number is different. This isn't my drive, it's a clone. Someone copied all my data and replaced the original with this duplicate, thinking I wouldn't notice. My phone buzzes with a notification from my bank app. New login attempt from unrecognized device. I open the app to find 3 failed login attempts in the past hour. They're not just watching me, they're actively trying to get into every aspect of my life. I grab essential items, stuffing them into a backpack. As I'm about to leave, my burner phone pings with another message from Amy. Found something. Marcus and Kevin own offshore company together. Blockstream Ventures LLC. Registered same month server crashes started. I take a deep breath, trying to calm my racing thoughts. This is way bigger than I imagined. A company-wide cryptocurrency mining operation using corporate resources, run by the CEO and IT director through an offshore entity. No wonder they were so quick to fire me and get me to sign that NDA. No wonder they're watching me, breaking into my apartment, trying to access my accounts. My stupid joke didn't just hit close to home, it hit the bullseye of something they're desperate to keep hidden. I wait in the corner booth of Riverside Coffee, nursing my 3rd cup while scanning the door every time it opens. The place is busy enough that no one notices me, but quiet enough that I can hear conversations at nearby tables. Perfect for what I need to do. Greg finally walks in, 15 minutes late, looking over his shoulder twice before spotting me. He's wearing a baseball cap pulled low and sunglasses despite the cloudy day. When he slides into the booth across from me, his hands are visibly shaking. I shouldn't be here, he says immediately, not even bothering with hello. If Kevin finds out, I appreciate you coming, I say, pushing a coffee toward him. I wouldn't have asked if it wasn't important. Greg takes off his sunglasses, revealing bloodshot eyes with dark circles underneath. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. I'm sorry about what happened, he says, voice low. The termination wasn't my call. Sarah from corporate just showed up with the paperwork already prepared. I figured as much. I lean forward. Greg, what's really going on at Dataflow? The server crashes every Tuesday at 3:47 a.m. That's not normal. He stares into his coffee for a long moment. I know. You know, I've suspected something for months, he admits. The electricity bills, the server room restrictions, Kevin's strange behavior. But I have a mortgage, 2 kids in college. I can't afford to lose my job. Has this happened before? With other employees? Greg nods slowly. 3 that I know of. Melissa in accounting noticed the utility bills and asked questions. She was gone a week later, restructuring. Then James from the network team mentioned the unusual server activity during a meeting. Performance issues, they said when they let him go. And Raj from my team, he actually walked into the server room during one of Kevin's maintenance windows. They escorted him out that same day. My stomach tightens. All of them got severance packages with NDAs, exactly like yours. Greg takes a sip of coffee, grimacing at the bitterness. Look, whatever they're doing, Marcus is involved too. I overheard them once, talking about conversion rates and mining efficiency. I pretended not to hear and walked the other way. I pull out my phone and show him some of the server logs I received. This is what they're doing. Bitcoin mining, using company resources. Greg's eyes widen as he scrolls through the data. Jesus, this is massive. Where did you get this? Better you don't know, I say, taking the phone back. But it's legitimate, and it proves everything. What are you going to do with it? I hesitate before answering. I'm thinking about sending it to the board members, anonymously. That's suicide, Greg whispers harshly. Kevin has connections, serious ones. This isn't just about losing a job anymore. I can't just let this go, I say. They're stealing from the company, Greg, using corporate resources for personal gain. That's fraud. Greg looks around nervously before leaning closer. Be careful. I heard Kevin talking about you yesterday. He said they needed to contain the situation. Those were his exact words. We finish our coffee in tense silence. As Greg stands to leave, he puts his hand on my shoulder. Whatever you decide to do, I never saw you today. I can't be involved. I understand. Thanks for meeting me. After Greg leaves, I stay for another hour, using the coffee shop's Wi-Fi to create another anonymous email account. I compile the server logs, electric bill information, and everything else I've gathered into a single encrypted file. Then I find the email addresses for Dataflow's board members and send them everything with a simple message. Investigate the server activity at 3:47 a.m. on Tuesdays. Follow the money. I feel a strange sense of relief as I hit send, like I've finally taken control of the situation. That feeling lasts exactly 3 hours and 22 minutes. I'm heating up leftover pasta for dinner when my phone rings with an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answer. You signed an NDA, a voice says without introduction. It's distorted, like they're using some kind of voice changer. Stop now. The call disconnects before I can respond. My hands are shaking so badly I drop the phone, the screen cracking against the kitchen tile. They know. Somehow, they already know what I did. I'm still staring at my broken phone when someone pounds on my apartment door. 3 hard knocks that make me jump. I approach cautiously, looking through the peephole. Kevin Thornton is standing in my hallway. My heart hammers in my chest as I consider my options. I could pretend I'm not home, but his knocking grows more insistent. Finally, I open the door just enough to see him, keeping the chain lock fastened. We need to talk, Kevin says, his face unnaturally calm. May I come in? I don't think that's a good idea, I reply, trying to keep my voice steady. I think you'll want to hear what I have to say. He holds up his phone, showing me the anonymous email I sent to the board members. This was clever, but ultimately pointless. I swallow hard. How did you? I monitor all board communications. Standard IT protocol. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Now, are you going to let me in? Or should we discuss your violation of the NDA in the hallway where your neighbors can hear? Against every instinct screaming at me to slam the door, I unlatch the chain and step back. Kevin walks in like he owns the place, looking around with casual interest. Nice apartment, he says, running his fingers along my bookshelf. Must be difficult to maintain on unemployment. What do you want, Kevin? He sits down on my couch without being invited. I want to resolve this situation amicably. You signed an agreement promising not to disclose company information, yet here we are. Bitcoin mining isn't company information, I say. It's fraud. Kevin laughs, genuinely amused. Is it? The company's resources are being utilized at maximum efficiency during off hours. The profits are being reinvested into infrastructure and expansion. Everyone benefits, except the shareholders who don't know where the money is really coming from. Details. He waves his hand dismissively. Look, you're clearly resourceful, smart. I respect that. So, I'm going to make you an offer. From inside his jacket, Kevin pulls out an envelope and places it on my coffee table. $100,000. $50,000. Cash, no taxes, no questions. You take this, delete everything you've collected, and forget what you think you know. I stare at the envelope, stunned by the amount. And if I don't, then things get unpleasant. His tone remains conversational, which somehow makes it more threatening. The NDA you signed has serious financial penalties. We'd pursue those to the fullest extent. Your reputation in the industry would be destroyed. No one would hire you. I think about the cloned hard drive, the break-in, the following car. Is that all you do? Legal action? Something flickers in Kevin's eyes. What else would we do? While he's talking, I've been slowly moving my phone in my pocket, pressing buttons through the fabric, hoping I'm activating the recording app. You tell me. The black SUV outside my apartment, the break-in, the cloned hard drive? Kevin's expression doesn't change. I have no idea what you're talking about. I think you do. I say, finding courage from somewhere. And I think Marcus authorized this whole operation years ago, didn't he? That's why you're so desperate to keep it quiet. For the first time, Kevin looks genuinely surprised. You've done your homework. Yes, Marcus and I started this 3 years ago when cryptocurrency was taking off. It was his idea, actually. The company was struggling, and this was a way to generate revenue without laying people off, by stealing company resources. By utilizing idle processing power during off hours, he corrects. The company benefits. We benefit. Everyone wins. Except the people you fired for noticing. Kevin shrugs. Collateral damage. Necessary for the greater good. Before I can respond, there's another knock at the door, much louder this time. Kevin and I both freeze. Police, open up! Kevin's face drains of color. What did you do? Nothing, I whisper, genuinely confused. The knocking continues. Sir, we received a call about a suspicious person entering this apartment. Please open the door. I move toward the door, but Kevin grabs my arm, his fingers digging in painfully. Don't say a word about data flow, he hisses. Remember the NDA. I pull away from him and open the door to find 2 police officers standing in the hallway. Behind them, I can see my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Patel, peering out from her apartment. Officers, I say, trying to sound calm. Is there a problem? We received a call about a suspicious person entering this apartment, one officer explains. Are you all right, sir? Kevin steps forward, all charm suddenly. Just a work meeting, officers. I'm his former boss. We're discussing a consulting opportunity. The officers look between us, clearly sensing the tension. Is that accurate, sir? The second officer asks me directly. In that moment, I realize I have a choice. I could confirm Kevin's story and continue this dangerous game, or I could tell the truth and let the consequences fall where they may. I look at Kevin, at the envelope of cash on my coffee table, at the phone in my pocket that hopefully captured every word of our conversation. Actually, I say slowly, I think you should come in. There's something you need to hear. I'm staring at my phone in disbelief when the FBI agent's email arrives 3 days after my confrontation with Kevin. Special Agent Diana Chen wants to meet at the local field office regarding evidence submitted in the Dataflow Solutions investigation. I never actually submitted anything to the FBI. Someone else must have forwarded what I sent to the board. The federal building downtown is all glass and steel, intimidating by design. I clear security and am escorted to a conference room where Agent Chen is waiting with another agent who introduces himself as Torres. Thank you for coming in, Chen says, gesturing for me to sit. We've been investigating Dataflow Solutions for approximately 72 hours based on evidence that was forwarded to us by a board member named Richard Hargrove. I didn't know it would go this far. I admit. Agent Torres slides a folder across the table. Based on our preliminary investigation, what began as a small cryptocurrency mining operation 3 years ago has grown into something much larger. We estimate they've generated between $4 and $6 million in cryptocurrency, all undeclared and flowing through offshore accounts. My jaw drops. Millions? I thought maybe it was a few $1,000s. This wasn't some side project, Chen explains. This was sophisticated, deliberate fraud. The server logs you provided showed they were using approximately 70% of the company's computing resources during those maintenance windows. And the electricity consumption? Torres adds. The 40% increase you noted translates to roughly $380,000 in additional utility costs annually, all billed to Dataflow while the profits went elsewhere. My head spins as they continue explaining the scope. Multiple executives were involved, not just Kevin and Marcus. The CFO helped disguise the electricity costs as infrastructure upgrades. 2 IT specialists were paid bonuses to maintain the mining operation. Even Sarah from HR was implicated. She handled the terminations of anyone who got too close. What happens now? I ask. We executed search warrants at Dataflow headquarters this morning, Chen says. The company's servers have been seized as evidence. Several executives are being questioned, including Kevin. Torres smirks. Mr. Thornton attempted to board a flight to the Cayman Islands last night. He was detained at the airport with 3 laptops and approximately $250,000 in cryptocurrency hardware wallets. I almost laugh. And Marcus? CEO Devereaux is claiming complete ignorance, Chen says, rolling her eyes. Says Kevin went rogue and he had no knowledge of any mining operation. Unfortunately for him, we found emails dating back 3 years where he specifically authorized the initial setup and discussed profit-sharing arrangements. Over the next 2 weeks, I provide formal statements, turn over evidence, and help the FBI understand the technical aspects of what Dataflow was doing. The story breaks in the local news, then gets picked up nationally as one of the largest corporate cryptocurrency frauds to date. I watch from my apartment as Kevin and Marcus are perp-walked in handcuffs past news cameras. One morning, my phone rings with a number I don't recognize. Hello? This is Richard Hargrove from the Dataflow Solutions Board of Directors. Do you have a moment to talk? I tense up. Yes, I do. First, I want to thank you for bringing this matter to our attention. The board had no knowledge of what Marcus and the others were doing. His voice sounds genuinely grateful. We've appointed an interim CEO and are cooperating fully with authorities. I appreciate that, I say cautiously. The reason I'm calling is that we'd like to offer you your position back. With a promotion, of course. Senior developer with a 30% salary increase and a seat on our new ethics committee. I'm momentarily stunned. That's generous. You demonstrated integrity when it would have been easier to stay quiet. That's exactly the kind of leadership we need during this rebuilding phase. I think about returning to those offices, walking walking past the same cubicles where coworkers watched me being escorted out, sitting in meetings where everyone would know me as the whistleblower. I appreciate the offer, Mr. Hargrove, but I'm going to decline. May I ask why? We're prepared to be quite flexible with compensation. It's not about the money, I say, surprised to discover I mean it. I think I need a fresh start. 2 days later, I receive a formal letter from the Dataflow board expressing regret over my termination and confirming my severance package now extended to 12 months instead of 6, with no NDA requirement. The final paragraph mentions that any legal claims I might wish to pursue would be met with the utmost cooperation. I use part of my severance to incorporate a new business, Sentinel Security Consulting. My first client is a mid-sized manufacturing company worried about insider threats. Within 3 months, I have more work than I can handle alone, so I hire Amy, who quit Dataflow the day after the FBI raid. You're not going to believe this? Amy says one morning, holding up her phone. I just got a LinkedIn message from someone at TechCore Industries. They think they might have the same problem Dataflow had. Bitcoin mining? The servers crash every Thursday at 2:15 a.m. Their IT director drives a Ferrari but makes $85K a year. I shake my head. Apparently this is more common than we thought. By the time the grand jury convenes 6 months later, we've uncovered similar schemes at 3 other companies. The prosecutor handling the Dataflow case calls me regularly for technical advice and eventually asks me to testify. Standing in the witness box, I look directly at Kevin and Marcus sitting with their attorneys. Kevin won't meet my eyes, but Marcus stares back with cold hatred. I tell the jury everything: the server crashes, the joke, the firing, the threatening visit to my apartment. When the prosecutor plays the recording I made of Kevin offering me money for silence, Marcus visibly pales. Exactly 1 year after my joke in that Friday meeting, I sit in the courtroom gallery and watch as the jury foreman reads the verdict. Guilty on all counts. Kevin and Marcus face up to 20 years for fraud, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. Outside the courthouse, a reporter shoves a microphone in my face. How does it feel to have brought down this operation with just a joke? I think about how differently things could have gone if I'd just signed that NDA and walked away. If I hadn't noticed the patterns. If I hadn't kept pushing when it would have been easier and safer to stop. It wasn't the joke that brought them down. I say finally. It was their reaction to it. When people overreact to something small, it usually means there's something much bigger they're trying to hide. As I walk to my car, my phone buzzes with a new client request. Another company, another suspicious pattern, another chance to uncover what's hidden beneath the surface. I smile as I get into my car. Who knew a random joke about Bitcoin mining would lead to a whole new career? Sometimes the universe has a strange sense of humor.